As we close the week, I think the best video to finish the week is having a list of potential 5 firearms for SHTF. And I think I cover in this firearms, pretty much any scenario that you may encounter. Of course, I'm going to be showing things that I own. Apply this to yourself, and it may have to deviate depending on your location, but I think this will give you a pretty good idea of how to tailor SHTF rifle for yourself. First of all, the one that I want to say is the 1022. That one is above me. It is undisputable that the 1022, it is by far a prepper's best friend. If you don't have a 1022, it is simple. That is because you have about a dozen of them. And we all know this. 1022s are reliable. Ammunition is cheap. 50 rounds is just a little box. I don't know what else to say. It does serve its purpose. 1022, I think everybody should have one. The next one should be an AR-15. Now, the one that you see in here is a cold AR-15. You can choose your brand by all means. The point here is having a 5.56 223. That is the point. They are really easy to handle. You can give it to a small frame person and they will be able to handle that firearm without a problem, and that's what you're looking for. Something easy to maneuver, and ammunition is plentiful. Yes, ammunition is not as cheap as it used to be, but I think it is one of the cheapest ammunitions out there after 22. Because I mentioned cheap ammunition, I think the next one should be the KS-47. This is in 7.62 by 39, the AK round. Now, this one in particular, when I first came across it, it was a friend of mine. In fact, this is the one that I shot with my friend because he sold it to me afterwards. I fell in love with it. The way that it shot, the way that it handled, the reliability. I was like, holy bejesus. I call it the Frankenstein because it's not an AK, it's an AR platform, but this one really does work. And if you look at it online, it's not that expensive, which it brings that attraction to you, I need something with a little bit more kick than a 5.56 223, but I don't need anything like a 308. Maybe this is what I need. And the ammunition, truth to be told, is not as expensive. Again, back in the days when we get Tula ammo, Wolf and all of that, way better prices. But even nowadays, we can find ammunition relatively cheap for today's standards. Let me just put it like this. 223 is going to be cheaper than the AK round. The AK round is going to be cheaper than the 308. If you're looking at 308, I think the AR-10 is something that you should consider. I fancy the Ruger. This one, it is really light. It has been really reliable. And the accuracy has been really, really surprising. I was blown away by the accuracy of this little rifle. Now, I have come across some folks saying the gas system and this and that. I personally have not had an issue with the gas system at all. I don't run this one suppressed. I have others AR-10s that I run suppressed. The gas is right open and it throws gas at me and whatnot. And that is the issue, if I didn't say that, it's just getting gas in your face. But this one, I don't have an issue with it at all. The one thing that I didn't mention is then on the KS-47 and on the AR-10, I did change the charging handle. The AR-15, I left it like that, and that one. Others, I changed it. But the charging handle, in my opinion, the small one that it comes with, it's just a little hard. You have to use both fingers, and I like the one that you can use, just do either one. So, I think that's something that, just keep an eye on. It's not a deal breaker or anything like that, but, something to keep on it. Now, I mentioned before, 1022, 22 caliber, AR-15, 5.56 223, KS-47, the AK round, 7.62 by 39. And lastly, I mentioned the 308 or the 7.62 by 51. Now, since we have all of this for cover already, I don't want to leave the shotgun, folks. So I'm gonna share with y'all a shotgun that I think in an SHTF will be one of those, like, when people see it, they're gonna have something coming out of their backs, and they're gonna be having to change underwears, and that will be the TS-12. This is a 12 gauge shotgun. It is a semi-auto shotgun. It shoots 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. If you use 2 3/4, you can put 5 shells in each tube, and it has 3 tubes, so 15 shells. And if you use the 3-inch shell, then you put 4 in each tube. That is 12 shells. Now this one weighs about 9 pounds empty, and once you put 15 shells, and actually the way I have still the scale in there, you add an extra pound and 6 ounces, so you have a 10 pound 6 ounce rifle of hell. Just imagine yourself coming out of your house and you have a bunch of people trying to take your stuff, and you come out with that thing. Just it's like a dragon just spewing. You're gonna disperse that mob real fast. So yeah, it is a little bit on the pricey side. I think it runs about $1,300, but if you compare it with a Beretta or a Benelli, something that, you know, semi-auto, very reliable, yada yada yada, I think the price is not that bad. In my area, I actually had to order mine. It took about 3 weeks to get here, but it's something that I wanted, and Laz and I have a blast every time that we go to the range with it. So if you guys want a full review of that one, let me know down in the comment section below, and I can make a day at the range, which is that one, so you guys can see how it actually operates. But yeah, I think this 5 firearms will cover everything that you need. You got a 22, you have in 5.56 223, you have an AR-10, you have an AK round, just in case we get invaded by the Russians or the Chinese or whatever. And then the KS-47 does use the same magazine as the AK-47, so something to consider. And then now you have a shotgun that is a freaking dragon. So I just want to give you that to think. Again, just ideas for you to consider. I hear folks saying all the time, these are the 5 top firearms. No, I'm just giving you ideas, and from there you take over and you customize it to your needs. With that being said, I hope you have a great one. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the pinned comment below. Consider joining our Frontier Prepper Squad or let an adder to you run. It really does make a difference. And always remember, those who prepare today will not struggle tomorrow.